Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this pretty note card. I've got an idea of making also a little box to go with this that has some of the same stamp stuff on the top, and I'll probably put that up in a separate video. And this little card is decorated on the inside, and you can certainly put this same decoration on the outside of the envelope. And today, the pieces that you need, I've looked at a lot of these cards that have this layering technique, and what I find is that some of them are really quite heavy. And they've got just lots and lots of layers, and I think I figured out how to do this with just a few pieces of paper. So what we need is a card base that measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We need another piece of white that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then we need 2 pieces of basic black, and these measure 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So the first thing we're going to do is fold our card base, move this card out of the way, and go ahead and burnish the card, get it all set to go, and then we're going to add the black card base to the front of the card, and I'm going to do it using Tombow because it does give us that extra little time to move it around on the card. So I'm going to place this on here and then move it so that I have the same border all the way around, and I'm happy with the way that's centered on the face of this card. There, all right, and then we can just set that aside for the moment. Where we're going to be doing our work is our stamping is going to be done on the white piece, and then we're going to be doing some cutting. So let me tell you about the materials we're using. I'm using lots of labels, framelit dies, and I'm using the 4 largest of the framelit dies in this set, and I'll show you those in a second. And then I'm using, from Touches of Texture, I'm using this flower spray, and I'm using this little dragonfly over here. I just love this set. I seem to find reasons to use it, it seems like all the time. And we're going to be doing, I think I'm going to start with our stamp work that we're going to do on this white piece. And so I'm going to bring in my piercing mat here and bring in my silicone mat, and I need a piece of scratch paper, so let me reach for one of those. Set that up underneath here. I'll put this down as well. Okay, so my stamps, which I've already got mounted, are my flower spray and my dragonfly, and the pieces, the ink I'm going to be using for this is I'm going to be using Pear Pizzaz and Wisteria Wonder and Smokey Slate. And we're going to start with the Smokey Slate, and what we're going to do is stamp, let me clean this off once, stamp around the card. And I like this stamp specifically when its stems are off the card base. So I hope you can see that, but I'm going to start with some flowers here, and I'm going to just put that image several times around this card as I go. And I'm purposely leaving the center of this open, and I'll show you why in a second here. There we've got our image set over in the various places. And then I'm going to take my little dragonfly and I'm going to put him once, let's see, probably best if he goes this way. And depending on how you stamp this is where you decide to put the dragonfly. And I'm going to put another one as though he were flying away right there on that side. Okay, so that's all I need this for. We will do the inside of the card as well in a minute. And so we have this outside front of the panel. And what we're going to do here is we're going to color this panel in. And what I've done is I am using this pink Pirouette marker, which is a very, very light pink. And I am coloring in ever so lightly just the petals of the flowers and the flower buds. Okay? So that you get an idea of exactly what I'm doing there. Then we need a little bit of water, and so I have my little water tray here, and I'm going to drop a few drops of water in one of these little wells, and I'm going to use a blender pen, and I'm going to use my Pear Pizzaz ink, and what I'm going to show you is what you've seen many times, where we put the ink on the top of the lid and then work with it with water. And so I'm going to also take my aqua painter here and drop a little bit of water in that lid. Then I'm going to take my blender pen and I'm going to get the tip of this pen pretty watered up, and I'm going to water it a little bit more because I want this to be very pale, and I'm going to color in the leaves here in Pear Pizzaz, and just ever so lightly, because again I want this to be very pale and understated. And so I'm going to go along and do all of the coloring that way. Then I want to show you what I'm doing with the dragonfly. And with the dragonfly, I'm using the blender pen again. So I've got my blender pen here, and it's got green ink on it. So blender pens, if you've worked with them before, all you really have to do is kind of get that ink off, which is what I'm doing here on this baby wipe, until that ink is pretty well off. Now what I'm going to do is, in fact, I'm going to put this away for the moment and show you with the Wisteria Wonder the same idea of getting a little bit of water in the ink. And before I use the blender pen, what I'm going to do is take my Soft Sky marker, which is a very pale blue, and just paint the wings of the dragonfly. And then I'm going to use my blender pen here with some water and maybe a little bit more of the Wisteria ink, and just put a very thin wash over so I get kind of a blue-green color on those wings. Very, very slight. Now I'm going to take the ink off of that again, and what I've done for the butterfly body here is to the same process, a little, clean off my brush again, and take a little bit of the gray and go over the body of the dragonfly, just to give him a little definition. Again, very, very faint. Okay, now I didn't think we needed to spend time with you watching me color, So I have a panel that I've already gotten most of the way there, and that's this one. So I'll just finish up on this one so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm coloring in the buds here, and just 1 or 2 brush strokes per petal, and getting those colored. Okay, that's it on the pink. Then I'll go back to my blender pen and the green ink. And I already, oh, there it is. So my blender pen needs to have the gray taken off of it. And now I'll go back to this green and fill in these leaves. Using a watered down version of the ink and a blender pen is a really good way of getting a much lighter shade of an ink color. And it really, there are several techniques that you can use that make it look like you have many, many colors of that. And I'm going to fill in this second dragonfly here with the blue on his wings, and then using the blender pen again, and a little bit of, kind of run out of water there, and then my blender pen again, and the purple ink. Let me get this closed properly or I'll end up with a mess. Okay, so back to the purple and the blender pen here, and I'm going to put that slight wash of the purple over the blue so that it actually shows a little bit more of the purple on the ends on this one. As in Mother Nature, each one of these little dragonflies has a tendency to come out different, and that's kind of the fun of it. In fact, I think my thought on this is to turn this into a 4-pack of a note card set with its own box with the decoration on the outside. And over the next day or so, I'll put the video up on that box to hold these gift cards. I think it would make a lovely gift. All right, so here we go with the gray that I need. I'm just going to take a little tiny bit of the gray and finish his body here. There we go. All right. And so that's where we are with that part of the technique. And let me move some of these things out of the way, because I'm going to move now to the Wink of Stella pen. And I don't know if you can see this on camera. I'm going to move it around a couple different ways. You might be able to see the Wink of Stella that's on there. But I'm putting Wink of Stella all over this dragonfly. And all the way up and down his body here. And then I'm covering only the pink parts of the flower. And so it's just beautiful. And the Wink of Stella just perks it up so nicely. And there, I think I've got all of the flowers done. All right, so that is the technique for coloring this panel. then what I'm going to do is using my Big Shot, and the sandwich I'm going to use for my Big Shot is this. It is the magnetic platform, then a cutting plate, then my paper and my dies, and a top cutting plate, and running that through the Big Shot. And let me show you what that results in when we're done here. So what I did was I used the largest of the dies, and I'm going to set this back up as though it had just come off the Big Shot. The largest of the dies any old way on one of these black panels, because what I want is the inside piece. This is the piece that I want. And so it doesn't matter on this piece. This is just now a piece of scrap and can be tossed. So then I center not the next one, but the size in between. So if I went, this is the largest, then the next largest would be used on the panel that's been colored. That's this panel. Then the next one would be on the black. Then the smallest one would be on the white. I hope that makes sense. So that when you're done, the way you're doing it is this largest one is done on the black to give you this outline. Then the next largest one is done on the colored panel to give you this cutout. Okay? Then the next largest one is used, so it gives you your there. The next largest one is used on the black piece, and the smallest one is used on the white piece. So I hope that makes sense. The largest, and counting inward, 1, 2, 3. So 1 and 3 are used on the black piece, and 2 and 4 are used on the colored piece. I hope that makes sense. So again, the largest piece to cut out, that one. The next largest one to cut out this piece, which gives you this, and then you use the smallest one on this one to cut out the whole thing. So I'm going to put this back together one more time just to make, hopefully I'm being clear. And you can tell where you are by matching up your flowers. And you can see here how this creates the card piece that I was using. And this is the piece that was the black panel. So, lots of fiddling here. Okay, so it is like this. The largest piece on the black, the next largest on the colored, the next largest on the black, and the smallest on the inside of the colored piece. And if you have questions, let me know and I'll try it a different way. But you end up with 2 black pieces, one just inside the other, and this outside piece, and then 2 white pieces, one just inside the other. Okay, so now when we go to put this together, it's just really a matter of assembling this thing at this point. And so we have our black panel on our front, and I just put this piece down flat. And you want to make sure that your orientation is the right way to get your dragonfly body parts all going in the same direction. I had somebody in class do this, and she had a head of a dragonfly here and the wings over here, and we had to figure out how to take it apart and put it back together again. But I dry fit this first so that I know that it's going to go just this way. So first this piece, And I'm going to use Tombow to adhere this one flat to the card front, and then we'll raise parts of it. So Tombow on the outside of this piece, and then we'll put this piece on our panel and scoot it around till we've got it where we want. I want to quickly make sure I've got this the right way. I don't, it's upside down. So quick before it dries, I'm going to turn it around and see if I can get it put back into place. Oh, the beauty of Tombow. All right, and then this should be the next piece that goes in there. Okay, so in that order. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is put my black piece and center it top to bottom, side to side over this hole. And again, I'm going to use Tombow. And put this in place. And get that centered. All right, this next piece that I'm going to put back in here, for this piece, I'm going to raise that up on dimensionals. So let me find some of my dimensionals, which I very cleverly moved out of the way, and now I need them back. So I'm going to put one on the top and one on the bottom, and then I am going to cut a couple of them in half because this ends start to narrow, and so I want to get them in the corners here of where they're starting to come down the side. And I think I'm going to continue to add some on the sides here, and maybe use some of these bones here on the edge to do that. Okay, so we'll add this one, and again center it from top to bottom, side to side, and make sure that we've got our flowers lined up. I think it goes that way. All right. Then next goes the next black piece, oops, which will go on here. And we'll get that one centered on here. Again, center top to bottom, side to side, till you're happy. And then this last piece will go on top there, and it'll be coordinated with the flowers and the dragonflies. So we'll actually, I'm going to put this part up on dimensionals as well to give the card a bit of dimension here. And I'm going to put just 4, top and bottom and both sides. Okay, and get that placed so my dragonflies line up. And this is center top to bottom. That looks about right to me. And there we have the card. Isn't that pretty? I think they make a lovely note card. And I'm going to bring back the original in so you can see what I did was then use the same stamps on the inside, and you could put more flowers in here if you'd like. And I colored them, and I also used the Wink of Stella on the ones on the inside. And that is our card for today. So it's a simple card, but I think the impact is good. I think it is a very striking note card. I think anybody'd be happy to get a set of 4 or 5 of these in a little box. And like I said, I've designed a box to house these, and I'll be back in a day or so and share with you the box that you can do, and we'll put some of this decoration on the outside of the box to match the note cards. So that is the project for today. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. And down below, as always, you'll find all of the dimensions and the product names and the measurements for the card. Also will be the hostess code for the month of September. I'm giving away the Tag Topper Punch, $23 or $4 value out of the catalog this time. And I also have coming my next Christmas design, which I have done and just need to make the video. So again, thanks for stopping by, and until I'm back with another 3D project or a card, bye!